Good evening, everyone. I'm calling the Southborough School Committee meeting to order on Wednesday, September 10th, 2025 at 6:31 p.m. We have 4 out of 5 committee members present tonight, and we are being recorded and live streamed by Sam, just so everybody knows. And our first order of business is public comment. So if you have any public comment, feel free to let me know. All right. Thank you. So new business, principals report. So we have all of our principals to my right this evening. So welcome to the first school committee meeting of the 25-26 school year. And I'll open it up to you to give your updates for the beginning of school. Oh, so we're going to do it a little bit differently than what we've normally done, right? The principals have picked a picture.
Am I sharing?
I don't mind sharing.
We rehearsed.
Yeah.
Really well.
So we're going to try this method where each of the principals pick a picture and are going to 3 pictures and give us an update on the first couple weeks of school.
I'll start. I'll wait for the pictures to go.
Okay, hold on, I'll do it.
Greg's
Greg's got it.
Greg will drive.
Maybe. Thank you.
Actually, probably be better if one of you shares. So Clayton, can you share that? Or just present
Whoever
it?
has it open.
I don't.
We have it open, but we have our notes, that's what.
Yeah.
Share it with me and I'll do it. Oh, okay, I can do that. I'm going to share it, so.
So while we're waiting, I'll just speak on behalf of all the principals. It was a really hard task because all of our openings were so wonderful this year, from our open houses to the first days of school. I think we were all in agreement that it was a really hard task to figure out which pictures to really use to highlight our openings. So.
I'll add on to that. Typically, what we do at the beginning of the year when we present is just thank our custodians and our staff for getting prepared for opening day. So I think we're all so proud of the staff that we work with, and the custodians did an amazing job, led by Brian Fantoni this year, getting everything ready. So yeah, thanks to them.
Let's see if this works.
Do you want me to see
When pictures are the highlight and I see now the picture.
Exclamation point.
This is not.
Gary, do you have it? I'll try.
We'll just do slideshow and see what happens.
I'll try.
Do you want me to try some? Yeah, one second.
Sure.
Yeah.
I will disconnect.
Okay.
Not all heroes wear capes. Here we go.
Right. So the first photo is the photo of our teacher dining room, and our SOS parent group did an incredible job over the summer, transformed the dining space into one that was very welcoming. They painted the walls, they bought furniture, new appliances. We even have an adult lending library that they've established. Teachers were very excited, and SOS sponsored our first meal, our gathering on our first day, so everybody was able to enjoy this space for what it was with our first meal. The second photo in the middle is a photo that captures the excitement of our whole school assembly. Ivy, the very determined dog. This is the second year of having Ivy and her owner into the school. The story really highlights perseverance, resilience for our students. Ivy is a paralyzed dog. Her back legs were paralyzed when she was 3, and she's continued to live her life to the fullest through the adaptation of a wheelchair or wheels in the back or hindquarters. It was just a powerful message for the entire school. Great way to start. In our final photo is the photo that illustrates the theme of belonging for our district that we're continuing this year. It's a first grade classroom, and each of our classrooms emphasize the importance of celebrating everyone's differences, yet recognizing connections and building a community where we all belong. This photo highlights students' work, showing who they are and how we're all connected. And the image on the far right corner really sums it up. It's really hard to read, but the caption is, "Our class is a family," and it really encapsulates the theme that we're promoting at the Finn School. Pass it on to Mr. Lynch.
Thank you. So starting from left to right, the photograph on the left is of our open house. So it's a kickoff event for our school year. That's a picture of one of our second grade teachers welcoming a second grade student to Woodward School. It was a wonderfully attended event. We had community organizations and groups representing in the main lobby to provide information to families. Just a really wonderful way to kick off the school year and to get out some of those first day jitters the night before. Waldo, our owl mascot, made an appearance and took pictures with students and families and teachers, and it was just really great to see the building filled with energy again. The middle picture is our Welcome Back picnic. That's our second annual Welcome Back picnic, sponsored by SOS. This was held last Friday night, and again, very well attended. This is a shot from the top of the hill, facing the food truck, pastry truck, and merchandise sales in the back, all supplied by Woodward SOS. It's just a really great way to kick off the school year and to welcome families back who haven't, who are returning as third grade families, and also welcome those families so that they know that they're part of a larger Woodward School community. And the picture on the right is from Miss Geese's third grade strings class. This is just a picture of students, jumping into the curriculum and trying something new, taking academic risks. This is, the first few weeks of school is all about building routines and creating positive environments for students to take risks in and to thrive in. And this was just a picture that I captured a few days ago. Just also want to comment the quality of the pictures varies from left to right. The one on the right is from my phone. The other two are on the left. Those are from Emma Purple, who is a staff member at Woodward, but also is taking on a larger role in our district, hoping to capture moments around the district and different schools to really highlight the great things that we're doing. So thank you to Emma for supplying those.
I'm reporting for Neary. I'm going to start on the left as well. So Art on the Trails closing ceremony is this week from 3 to 5 on Sunday for those who want to join. And this year we created, the theme was Letters of the Alphabet Portraits. And ours was called the Ninth Letter of Alphabet Portrait. Ninth letter of alphabet portraits, and the ninth letter is I. So Mrs. Johnson worked with students to paint eyes, and in that picture is 275 student eyes painted, and all decorated in different ways. Some have mathematical equations on them, some just have their eyes or representations of eyes of people that they know. And we did earn the Juror's Choice Award for Pure Collective Enchantment this year. So we're looking forward to the closing ceremony. You don't have to stay the whole time, but it is from 3 to 5 this Sunday. So that's what we're looking forward to seeing. In the middle is our annual picture on the hill. In keeping with our theme of belonging, we spelled out I belong. Not an easy feat with just under 300 students and staff. Mrs. Churio organized this, and we don't spray paint or put markers on the grass. We just line up, and in 45 minutes, with Mrs. Torio's direction and Mr. Ling, our reading specialist, on the roof on a ladder. Sorry. He took this amazing photo, and the students just did a terrific job. We've been doing this for many years, and we're proud of it, and we thank Mr. Ling and Mrs. Torio. So that will be shared tonight, as well as out in our newsletter and in different things that we share out with our Neary families. And then finally, our therapy dog Teddy is on the far right. He joined us today for his first day at Neary, his second year, but first day at Neary for this school year. We had a whole school meeting on Monday where we talked about Teddy and how to interact with Teddy, and he's often out and about at recess. He's throughout the hallways. Students come and pet him, read to him. He actually helped a student get on the bus yesterday, so that was really nice. He was a little nervous about getting on the bus, but Teddy got right on and sat beside him. He didn't go for the bus ride, but the student was happy to get on with Teddy. So you can see Teddy's very talented, working in science. He's a fan of science across all content areas. He loves participating with our students. So we're excited to have him back. And mostly his home is with Mrs. Graham, but he does get out and see many of our students. So that's Neary. Thank you.
If you don't know, Trotter Year opens with Trotter Year opening day, so we don't have a traditional classroom setting for the first day. We have an orientation for students, but it's more of a celebration with students. We have field day activities. We also we work with our students from our summer reading, where faculty members who read books over the summer lead discussions and activities. But we do start with some opening assemblies and ceremonies, and one of the things I'm most proud of is that we had 3 8th graders share some speeches this year, impart some words of wisdom and some advice, and that was Abaya Visick, Reese Bishop, and Anna Asher, and they gave us some encouragement. In particular, Reese offered some advice in rhyming format, stating, "So here's my advice, we start the new year, try something different, be bold, don't fear. Get out of your comfort zone and see what you find. You might surprise yourself and change your own mind. Be kind, be nice, lift each other higher. That's how we make it this year. We inspire." So let's try to make it a great one, okay? Thank you so much and have a great day. So it was a nice way to start us off. And then I also want to thank SOS for their ongoing support of our opening assemblies. This year we were able to welcome the Kikili Drum and Circle Group, drum and dance group, and it was a wonderful event. Students learned about the historic origins of the drum, and they were invited to join the performance. I would say over 300 students were on stage at one point, and faculty members. They sang, they drummed, they danced somewhat, and the experience created a powerful sense of energy and togetherness. So.
Great. Thank you very much. Does anybody have any comments or questions, or Greg?
No, I just wanted to thank the principals for their work getting ready for the academic year. I think very few sectors, end in June and then start up again in August, and the amount of work and preparation, whether it's our facilities teams, our central office staff, principals and educators to get ready for the academic year is extraordinary. And I think we've had a great start, a smooth transition into the academic year, and it's a result of a lot of effort of a lot of people over the summer months, and especially in August. So thank you.
Anyone else? Any questions or comments? All right, thank you for those nice updates. I like the pictures to go along with it. I think it's go ahead.
I love the therapy dog program at Neary. That can spread to any other schools. It seems like a great concept.
Finn has
We do.
one.
We have 2 therapy
Two.
dogs. Yeah.
Okay.
We have 2 as well.
You have 2?
We do.
Oh.
So one, they only come on certain days. So,
Yeah. But Teddy only comes on certain days, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's there more frequently once he got
Okay.
acclimated,
Yeah.
but yes, and we know he's there because his leash is hanging outside the door. So the students get off and they're always looking for the leash. Yeah.
We'd love to bring it to Woodward School, but it is dependent on the staff who do this process with their own dog. So if we were to find a willing staff member on the Woodward staff, we would absolutely support it. And have reached out to Michelle Carb, who is the Melican principal, who is leading this initiative. and she comes over and visits often, so our students have access, but
Yep.
I would agree that it'd be great to have it in all schools.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
And my dog is also trained, and so I have also offered that, because he comes to central office about once a week for the adults. But I also, like the other day, Steve and I talked about just letting parents know that when it's not disruptive, that I'm happy to bring Gino to Woodward as well. Or yeah,
That's great.
Steve, was it you that said choosing pictures was really hard? Or was it, was that Clayton?
That was just filler he was trying.
When he said that at the beginning, obviously I didn't even remember it was Clayton that said it, but I was thinking he was saying, well, opening school was really hard. And then I realized you were talking about the pictures, and that opening school must have been really easy.
It does have its challenges, but I agree. We had an unbelievable start at Finn this year.
It looks like it. It looks like
Yeah, it
a
was
lot of
great.
really good, good activities, at the beginning for everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
School reopening update, extended school year.
Sure. So during the summer months, we have several programs that run during the summer. So we have a little under 300 students who attend school during the summer months at Algonquin Regional High School, grades K through age 22. And Helene is here to talk about the extended school year program. We also have a multilingual learner program over the summer, and Sally will speak to the multi-learner program. And then we'll also hear from Dr. Reinhorn around the professional development opportunities that took place over the summer.
Welcome, Helene and Sylvia.
Hello, everybody.
Thanks for coming.
No problem. Okay, start? Okay, so yes, by the summer, we had students preschool through age 22 in our program at Algonquin. I do want to start with the thank yous, of course. So many people contribute to running a successful extended school year program. That includes our assistant directors of student support services, Deb Lemieux, Kate Clark, as well as our preschool coordinator, Jen Henry, who also comes back every summer to teach one of our classrooms in the summer and not only coordinate. So, as well as central office team members, people from human resources, finance, transportation, facilities, technology, health and wellness. Definitely want to thank Sean Bevan. He welcomes us back to the high school every summer, which is wonderful. Also, the facilities team led by Mike Gorman at Algonquin. They have a large task of ensuring that they are prepared for the school year to begin while also meeting the needs of the extended school year program in the summer. So it's a tall task, but we work really well together to meet everybody's needs. Our site coordinator this summer was Michelle Moody. Michelle is the Southborough team chair. This was her first summer in the role of building coordinator. She did a really nice job working with families in the day-to-day and supporting our teachers and our students and making sure that everyone had what they needed. This is our fourth summer at Algonquin. Again, we saw that it really, having everyone in the same building just really helps with our efficiency of resources, especially when it comes to things like transportation and support from nurses and service providers like speech language pathologists, occupational therapists, things like that. We don't anticipate a change. We continue to plan to be at Algonquin each summer going forward. So to give you some of the numbers, we had 180 students in the ESY program this year. Last year, we had 182. All of these numbers are very similar to what they were last year. In terms of hiring, we had 20 internal staff for teachers and support professionals like speech language pathologists, occupational therapists, physical therapists. We had 7 external hires for those positions. 4 of those people return to us each summer. They work in different districts during the school year and they come back to us in the summer, so that was great again. 5 of the weeks were covered by nurses who are currently employed in the district. 2 weeks were contracted out. which was great because we just have people who know our kids and know what they need, really helpful. For our educational support professionals, we had a total of 75 ESPs, 50 of which were internal, 25 were external hires. Again, some of those people are people who just keep coming back to us in the summer, who do other things during the school year in other districts. 13 of those people were people who returned from last year, so they came back to us this summer. And then we hired several of our ESPs into district roles for this school year. That's always nice because they get a sense of who the kids are in the district a little bit in the summer before applying for a position in the fall, and then we also know them a little bit before they come in. We incorporated a few events this summer. We're going to continue to try and grow our events and fun activities in the summer. We did a Touch a Truck Day with the Northborough Fire Department and DPW. They brought several fire trucks as well as different equipment from the DPW, which was great. The kids really enjoyed that. We had many of the therapy dogs visit. So Dr. Reinhorn came with her dog. Michelle Carr came from Milligan. Kristen Schiavo, who is one of our reading specialists, brought her dog. So throughout the summer, the dogs visited kids in the classrooms. We certainly did not visit the classrooms that did not appreciate the dogs, and that's okay too. But we did have that opportunity in the summer. We will be sharing an ESY parent survey with families to receive their feedback. And then one suggestion that was actually made by the Northborough School Committee was to survey the students. So we're going to incorporate that next summer when we can do it on site at the end of the summer. That's all. Any questions?
Any questions? Thanks, Elaine.
Thank you.
Okay. Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here again, and I'm glad that we are back in business of opening our schools and welcoming our students. In addition to welcoming our students, our department welcomed 2 new team members this year. Our administrative assistant, Rosa Populis, has stepped into the role that was previously held by Deb Young, and she's already doing a fabulous job supporting our families, staff, while also coordinating all of the interpretation and translation needs in our district. Our second member actually is an ELD teacher, Amanda Borja, here at Trotter, who has replaced the position previously held by Megan Mixted. Thanks to the warm support of Gary, Todd, and the team at Trotter, and my team's ELD team support, Amanda has seamlessly integrated into the school community, and it feels like she's been part of our team for a longer time than it has been. So as far as our summer program, that's always the highlight of our summer. Our multilingual learner summer enrichment program is funded by the Title III grants. And this year the program served 72 students, grades 1 through 12, from all 3 districts, and 19 of them were from Southborough. We were fortunate to have 8 teachers, 2 ESPs, our program director coordinator Lonnie, and 2 nurses being part of this team. I'd like to highlight that 2 of our ESPs, actually one is a current a student who's multilingual at the high school, and the other one is also a former student who went through the ELD program here in our district. So we were very happy to have them, and they were very valuable to the program, both to the students and to our teachers. They did an amazing job. Before sharing some more details about our summer program, I would like to extend our gratitude to Principal Stacy Mahoney at Proctor School and her team. Her facilities team, Pam and Mike, kept the facility immaculate and safe, and it's always a pleasure to be back in the building. And to Keith and Sheila for arranging transportation for both towns, and it went very smoothly this year. Thank you so much for all your help. So this year, some of the highlights, our team was sustainability, and our summer program always focuses on bringing content area integrated hands-on activities to enhance their academic language and to prep them as kind of primer before the school begins. And this year, our middle and high school students visited Clark University, while all students had the opportunities to learn from two guest presenters. One of the presenters was from Mass Department of Agriculture, and she focused on endangered species. The students had really good questions for her, and Elizabeth Barnes from the Department of Agriculture came in with a lot of realia, pictures, and very engaging presentation. Our next guests were from Amazon. As you know, Amazon is housed in Northborough, and they came in and talked about their sustainability activities, which students really enjoyed because they all felt like they could ask a question about Amazon being such a I guess a constant part of their lives now. So there were two very welcomed visits and engaging activities. I do feel, though, I have to arrange for a dog visit for next summer. I feel like my program was left out of that. How did I not think of that? So I have to look into that for next year, definitely. We have, at the end of the program, we always have a day of activities, showcase activities. This year it was rotating stations, where we have grouped students across multiple grade levels and, further enhancing their collaboration, communication, skill building, and it was a very fun event that featured really, I wanted to do them too, like a long walk to water or building sculptures from recycled materials. And at the end, we were able to share a survey with our families. We did not have a student survey. I think that's a good point to have one. Our survey included a question to parents to go out and ask their students if they could recall a specific event or activity or learning from the summer program. If so, what it was and what their favorite part was. And we got very specific feedback, and we were very happy to have those results with us. So currently, our ELD teachers are still engaged in the identification process of our new enrollments. They're almost all done at this point and settling into their schedules and instruction. Our department is continuing to focus on curriculum and instruction development, and as well as continuing to build stronger partnership interdepartmentally with all the content area directors and coaches. In addition to, we look forward to welcoming our families to our LPAC meetings and also bringing events together with our Director of Belonging, Maggie, Culture and Music Night, and our International Night. So at this point, I'd like to invite all of you to our first LPAC meeting, which will take place on Thursday, October 16th from 6:30 to 8 at the library in Algonquin. And thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions or comments?
Quick comment, how times change. Many years ago, my wife and I visited the Amazon, took a trip down the river. And back then, when I said Amazon, immediately they knew I was talking about the river. Today, I say Amazon, visit the Amazon. They wonder what's such a big deal. Or Amazon's all over. They think talking about the company. So a lot of changes with time.
So true.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Stephanie.
Thank you. So I am pleased to be able to share a little bit about professional development, curriculum, and new teacher orientation. So I first there are so many things to highlight, but I want to start by just making note of the fact that there's PD that happens over the summer. There are teachers and coordinators and directors who propose different PD opportunities and of their own, focused on aligned to our strategic initiatives, but then really it's them volunteering to say, I'd like to participate in this, and then we fund and support those. We really kicked off the year with, and when I think about professional development, with our NASA retreat. So with all of our administrators coming together, and we have a 2-day retreat. The focus of that time was very much on strategic plans, school improvement plans, and goals, and really aligning our priorities and having an opportunity to share with each other, give feedback, and be going into the year kind of unified in that respect. We, soon after, the following week, welcome new teachers at the new teacher orientation, and all of our administrators come together. And we really think of that as the opportunity to welcome people in, orient them to our priorities and who we are as a district, our vision, our mission, our core values, and our strategic goals. Introduce them to some key people, and then we have a strong mentoring and induction program that supports them as they continue on with the year. In terms of the launch of the year with welcoming teachers back, we always enjoy our first day back, where we have everyone in the auditorium at Algonquin. It's the one time during the year where all employees are together, and we are one community of learners in one place. So that is always fun. And then we come back to our schools, and the principals, together with their leaders, whether they're assistant principals or teacher leaders, really launch the year. There was a really strong focus across all schools on the theme of belonging, and people approach that in a variety of ways. In some cases, we're building off of some of the learning we did last year about restorative practices. There were community circles, and other places focus on universal design for learning and high quality instructional practices, and coming together, as a community, but a variety of different ways of, but aligned to belonging. At the same time, during those first 3 days, there are many different collaborations and professional development happening all at the same time across the schools. And I think woven throughout is the collaboration among educators to create smooth transitions for students. So making sure everybody knows what they need to know about their incoming students, and is prepared, for their new classes. At the same time, there are also some professional development that are organized for specific groups. So that ranges from safety care, which is, educational support professionals and teachers who need to recertify in terms of safety care to be prepared for de-escalation or challenging situations. It also includes discipline-specific professional development. So we had at the middle school level, our ELA teachers we had a consultant from EL Education who was working with our ELA teachers, a consultant from Carnegie Learning working with our math teachers. For our science teachers, there was a consultant from Amplify helping to prepare for the work they were doing. World language, social studies, all different people are kind of, connecting in different ways. At the elementary level, we were focused on Eureka Squared, and the second year, but it is the first year for everyone, using Eureka Squared as our math program in elementary. And one thing that was very exciting about that launch was that our new math specialist at the elementary level, Kelly Schweppenhauser, who is not new to us, but new to the role, together with our early adopters, so our teachers who were in the first year last year, presented to the teachers and led them in professional development and sort of preparing for the launch of the year. So that was exciting. And the last one I'll highlight is that our health and PE teachers all had a day together with an outside consultant to continue their work in developing scope and sequence and curriculum planning. And that work will continue throughout the year. So many different things happening all at once, and I give tremendous credit to our principals and assistant principals because it is a bit of a three-ring circus, and they orchestrate it all. So thank you to the principals for such a great launch to the year.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions on PD or curriculum?
On the curriculum, what's the initial feedback been about Eureka?
So David and I were just talking about this earlier, but I would say the initial feedback from teachers, it is always a lot when we're implementing something new, but it has felt smooth.
Okay.
And I think we have learned a lot from the people who did it last year, and that has been a tremendous support for us going into this year. And having the math specialist, having Kelly there to work with PLCs, go into classrooms, it, I think, has been very, very smooth, and teachers are excited. I think in many cases they're finding that they really find the curriculum to be a positive new addition, but I welcome if there's any other thoughts.
And I would just share that today is day 9. We completed day 9. So the school year is still young.
Yes.
And this is an important task for teachers, and I think they're approaching it with a positive attitude.
Agreed.
And learning a new curriculum does take extra effort. So we appreciate teachers' willingness to take this on and the extra effort that they'll put in to make this work well for kids.
I can just add, I was fortunate enough to see Kelly Schreckenhauser twice over the past 2 weeks. Today she was in grade 4 PLC, working with teachers, planning, looking at the first module and really collaborating together on what the lesson should look like. And that was exciting to see everyone engaged in that process. And then she did some modeling for one of our grade 4 teachers. She led a lesson the other day for a new 4th grade teacher who used to be a 5th grade teacher. So it was extremely heartwarming to see them collaborate together. He was learning from her, and she was helping the students to engage in the new curriculum too. So it was hard for us to give Kelly up as a 5th grade teacher, but she's going to have such a positive impact across all of our grades. So I'm looking forward to that.
I would just echo Principal Valenti. We had Kelly join a 3rd grade classroom last week. The teacher reached out directly to Kelly and said, hey, I have some questions about some of, how we start the fluency routines. Can you come on in? So Kelly was able to model that for the teacher, taught alongside the teacher, and then was able to show some, thoughtful pivots and different instructional moves that the program allows. So I'm really happy to have Kelly in that role. And just to echo Greg's point, our teachers are taking on a lot, but they're doing this willingly because they know it's what's right and what's best for students. So I commend our educators who are taking that initiative. I also think, if I could just add one more point around the early adopters, I think it was very strategic the way that we had early adopters in every building. So while we didn't have an early adopter in 2nd grade last year, we had one in 3rd grade. So even my 2nd grade teachers are going to that person because they have a collegial relationship. They're part of the Woodward team, so they're reaching out and asking questions so that we can kind of shift and make adjustments as needed. But it's also a colleague who's lived through the program, who has learned a lot through the process last year, so they're a great sounding board.
I would echo the same thing. At Finn, we had 2 kindergarten teachers who were early adopters to grade 1 teachers, and just the sharing of the newness last year minimized the anxiety into this year, and a lot of the questions that were raised by them were shared at their team meetings, PLC meetings, so it was strategic. It was great to do it that way. And it resulted in a very smooth launch for the program.
So this, I don't want to add on too much, but I think this is a great example of our curriculum review process working well. That I know Dr. Reinhardt presented that to the committee last year, but that the outcome of a new curriculum is a ton of work around assessing what we're doing, looking at viable solutions, and then adopting a curriculum. So I think this is a great example of a success story.
I'll just add that I'm not hearing, we have Eureka this year, unlike a unnamed program that we switched to a couple of years ago. So there's been no mention of it, which I take as like a good sign from
students. And I'll just want to say publicly that Kathy Lazat has been tremendous in leading this effort.
Great. Okay. Thank you. I'm going to skip around a little bit if it's okay with the committee because we have I assume our beta consultant in the room. So if it's okay with everyone, I'm going to go to C, old business, number 4.
So I can provide some context.
Great.
So as a result of the town meeting this past spring around the Neary building project, the school committee and central office did meet to talk about what are the next tasks that we need to move forward with as a result of the vote. The school committee identified 11 tasks and charged the central office to complete those. One of those important tasks was to do a conditions assessment of 2 buildings, Neary and Finn, to review all of the assessments that were conducted of Neary during the process of going through the MSBA and making sure that there wasn't anything that we weren't aware of that would make the buildings unsafe for educators and students to occupy. So Keith did the work for carrying this work with Beta Group, and we worked with Joe McLaughlin, who's here today to present his findings, on another project, and we were very impressed with Joe's attention to detail, follow through, and just care about making sure that all of the information is gathered in a way with integrity and then presented back to us. So this evening, Joe is here to present the findings.
Excellent.
So welcome.
Welcome, Joe.
Thank you. Thank you. So as Greg said, Keith and I, we started the project by walking through both schools, kind of just talking about, what was there, looking at what was there, and came up with a scope to assess some of the hazardous building materials that could be in both buildings. Let's go to Neary. So Neary School was built around 1970. So unfortunately at that time, there were a lot of, our knowledge of what was safe was not what it is now. So there were a lot of materials that were commonly used in buildings of that era and earlier that could be a concern. So for this school, we wanted to assess for radon at both schools. Worcester County is a known area of high radon, so we deployed 15 radon canisters around the school, and they all came back below EPA's acceptable limits, so that was really favorable. We then moved on to asbestos. There has been a lot of asbestos work done at the school, at Neary School, with assessments identifying known materials and suspect materials. We reviewed all that material, all those reports, and we wanted to kind of supplement some of that because there were some materials that were assumed to be asbestos for purposes of management that we thought that could be sampled. So we were able to sample some of those materials, and a few of them came back positive, but a few of them also came back negative. So I think the next step to work with Keith is to some adjustment of the management plan. So some of those materials that had previously been assumed to be asbestos were negative, so they could be removed from the program. The good thing with asbestos from a risk standpoint is it's a solid material. It's really not a problem unless it's disturbed. So that's the point of the plan, is to do inspections to make sure they're not disturbed. If they do need to be disturbed for whatever work needs to be done, then that's done properly with proper precautions and proper cleanup. So asbestos can be scary to some people, but it's a very manageable material in this respect. We also assessed the buildings for lead-based paint. We used what's called an X-ray fluorescence meter. It's literally a little machine. You put it up against the wall. It sends out a little blip of X-ray, and it can tell you whether any of the layers of paint have lead in it. So it's kind of a nice tool because you can have new paint on top of old paint, and the old paint can be lead. We found that there was no lead paint in the school. So then we also looked at mold and moisture. I think the Neary School has some roofing issues that allow water to come in. Wherever there's water, there's potential for mold. We did find some mold on ceiling tiles, in some areas where there's some plumbing, some leaking plumbing. Some of the HVAC units had some evidence of mold in it. Most of the issues, I think actually all of the issues that we identified at Neary were taken care of by staff. But one of the problems with both mold and moisture is that if you don't eliminate the moisture, the mold can come back. So it's going to be a constant, a daily for Keith's staff to, observe the areas where it's known, if there's any new water areas to get those addressed, and gonna have to keep on top of the mold and moisture issues. So I think that's it for Neary, right?
Yep.
And then Finn School was built circa 1967. So again, in that era, this school has had a few newer additions though, so those were kind of less of a concern. So similar here, we deployed another 15 radon canisters. When we deployed the canisters, we looked at the geometry of both buildings and tried to get them spread out among the buildings. We also tried to pick classrooms, offices, common areas so that we got a coverage of them. So again, it was below limits, so radon at the Finn School is not a problem. Asbestos was a little more interesting than Neary because for some reason the previous work had all just assumed that materials were asbestos. There wasn't any previous testing, previous testing might have been negative, but the materials that were being managed were all assumed materials. So our inspector was able to sample some of those materials, and they all actually came back negative. So Keith and I have been talking that we may want to try to go back and sample the remaining materials. The problem with those remaining materials is it might require some more destructive testing where you kind of have to break something to get at it. So we didn't want to do that initially. So we may actually be able to get out of the inherent plan if those other materials are also negative. So I think in general, the asbestos situation, I think, is better. I think we tested 9 materials that had previously been assumed positive, and they all came back negative. So lead paint, same, it was all non-detect. The mold and moisture, very similar ceiling tiles. At Finn, there's a grading issue on room 22. Is that
Pre-K, right?
that over there? So where the hill comes down and the ground almost meets the lip of the building, and there can be water coming in there. And then, but again, I think Keith's staff has gone in and addressed the mold and moisture issues, but again, it's going to be an ongoing routine to keep on top of that. So that's good summary.
It is.
Does anybody have any questions or comments? And we don't have your report yet because you're waiting on the rate. Yeah. Okay, so we will get the report once it's finalized.
Yes.
I have a couple of questions. So for Neary, can you elaborate on when you talk about if asbestos is disturbed, does that mean intentionally or unintentionally?
It could, yeah.
So I guess with the roof situation that we find ourselves in, do you see that as creating a potential issue with asbestos or more with the mold and not knowing where the water is going?
I think the water is definitely more of a mold issue, but it's not infeasible that it could disturb some asbestos. But one thing that's maybe counterintuitive is that one of the ways you control asbestos fibers is to wet it. So if you actually had asbestos material and it got wet, it may be now damaged and need to be addressed, but it's, because asbestos is a solid material, and it's really becomes a concern when if it gets into dust, but if it's wet, then you can't do that, so it's, yeah, it's something that if it were to get wet, you'd have to address it, but it's not necessarily going to be an immediate concern.
Okay. And with having an ongoing mold issue, what recommendations do you have for us to be monitoring that, other than having the teachers make sure that they're looking at, all aspects of their classrooms? Like, what kind of monitoring?
Well, I think, Keith and I have talked that, his staff are trained to clean mold with bleach and do regular inspections of the areas. So I guess maybe it would be a good recommendation for the teachers to, if they do see or notice wet areas, to let Keith know so that his staff can assess for that. So I think that it's mainly the cleaning up and then trying to stop the water. Some of it was plumbing, and I think he made some plumbing repairs. Like under a sink, there was like a dripping pipe, and so that was repaired. Some of them were minor. I think that the roof leaks are probably the biggest challenge. Still on top of it.
Okay.
And Chelsea, I'll add that 2 years ago when we had the mold issues at Finn, one of the action items as a result was coming up with protocols. So we have cleaning protocols, we have inspection protocols. So, that involves teachers, that involves Clayton, that involves facilities team monitoring it. And the real issue that we have, not just at Finn and Neary, is that all of our buildings don't have an ability to control the climate.
Yeah.
So when we have these very humid months in the summer, our buildings are humid, and they're great spaces for mold to blossom and bloom. So we have some roof issues, but we also have, as a district and a community, an issue around climate control. That how do we control the climate so that we don't create conditions, A, that aren't uncomfortable to learn in, and don't create, mold blooms easily.
Great.
Just to add to that, I guess I probably should have said this earlier. What we found at these two buildings is totally common for buildings of these ages. So it's not that there's nothing here that is that our inspectors have not seen in other buildings of similar ages. So it's not out of the ordinary really. It's not perfect, but it's not like, oh my God, this building is.
Chelsea?
Yes.
I wanted to ask you, did you have any issue in looking at the music room, with the room that has the tiered spaces? That ceiling was concerning to me.
Yeah, that is, those ceiling tiles are asbestos. And, I think of all the asbestos that, could be something that could be possibly removed rather than managed. I think that we did talk about that maybe that would be a better course of action for that material. As of now, it's being managed, but I think that it wouldn't be the worst thing to remove it.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So sorry. Can you turn on like a microphone or something? I get trouble hearing any speaker on that. So.
There's no speakers, unfortunately, but do you want to move up here? We'll try to talk louder.
And try to yell.
Joe, turn it up.
Is it just Joe that you're having a hard time hearing, or everyone?
No,
everyone.
the meeting at this end of the table.
Okay.
Yeah, it must be something. I don't know.
It's the acoustic.
Maybe because they're facing this way.
Right.
Possibly. I'm so sorry to interrupt.
You can get even closer than the chair.
It's right here.
No, I think it's not.
At Neary, did you take a look at any of the well testing reports?
Keith provided me with the work that had been done, I think, on the side. Right? We did look at that, and those results were all clean. We have talked about looking a little more at that, but I did look at what's on the side, and those were all, yeah.
Okay. And at Finn, 2 years ago, or 18 months ago, we did put in wall air conditioner or window units, right? So understanding that that's kind of a Band-Aid
Yeah.
and not
I think it's
the greatest solution.
Yeah.
Because it just has so much risk with it not being on during the summer, and that's really when we think we ran into issues 2 summers ago. Any recommendations outside of that for Finn, given that we had cleaned up mold 2 years ago and then we had it again at the beginning of school?
I mean, I think it comes down to just that grading, the way the ground slopes down, and that if you look at the side of the building, the brick is, touching the ground. And normally, most buildings, you're going to have like some concrete exposed and then the brick. So there's like where the brick meets the concrete is like a seam that usually has like some kind of sealant or liner or something, but they're not like completely waterproof. So having that ground right up against the brick, and you get a heavy rainfall, you get the slope behind it. So, I think that it's, I don't want to criticize who designed the school, but it doesn't seem to have been the best design to jam it up against that hill there.
And we're talking about the pre-K wing, just for people.
Right, and also to mention that the window air conditioners are being run 24 hours in the low economy mode to maintain those environmental conditions as best as those pieces of equipment can. So it's not when it's occupied and not occupied, they are running 24/7.
Right.
To improve the conditions.
Right.
Throughout the summer, too.
Correct.
And there's no vapor barrier under Finn.
Portions. So that's one of the piece of additional investigation that we're doing is that was a problem with the initial renovation back in 1998. So we're doing a deeper investigation to what areas have been repaired and then vapor barrier added, and then what areas still remain to be done. The areas that we have replaced the floors in the last 2 years are rooms that did not have a vapor barrier, and the installer confirmed that.
Okay.
The town passed up the opportunity to have a climate control school, so.
The one thing I would add is, throughout the Neary building project and working with MSBA, the district never said that Neary is unsafe for students. We never said that, and that was never our intention to, scare parents that this is an unsafe building and kids need to get out of there. We were very clear. Hiring Beta Group and working with Joe was really to ensure that our knowledge about Neary and Finn were accurate. That there wasn't anything we were missing or not considering in terms of faculty and staff safety and student safety being in the building. So, so the results are in fact aligned with what we knew. However, it doesn't mean that there's not work to be done in terms of asbestos and other things that we need to take care of at some point.
And to follow up with Keith, so maybe some adjustments to the topography of the land may help the situation.
It could, but it's unclear. I mean, one of the things we did even a couple years ago is really try to investigate that. We looked at the drainage and the downspouts and stuff. So the recommendations we had for that area when it was looked at by a couple of engineers was significant. It was not just a simple French drain, but it would be like a restructuring of that entire area. That would be the only real solution to eliminate the issue versus just reduce.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much, Joe. This was very helpful, and it falls in line with what we were looking for, because we didn't know what we didn't know, and I think most of what you've reported, and again, once we look at your report, were knowns for the most part.
Correct.
Would you agree with that?
I would agree.
Okay.
And I'll just make one comment on the music room. So that is a near-term project. Dealing with that space and the tiles, that is something that we had acknowledged, and we worked with our consultant, asbestos consultant, and we've been monitoring it and waiting to see what was going to happen with Neary before we expended money on resolving that. So now that is something that we need to do in the short term.
Now, that would have to be accomplished in the summer, correct? Because you'd be decommissioning that space.
So we think a vacation,
Or a vacation?
Yeah.
Maybe you could accomplish it in a vacation, that would be great.
Potentially.
Should we go to number 5 with the mold mitigation? Do we need Joe for that?
A lot of it's already addressed.
Yeah, I mean, I think that,
Yeah.
we could just report that, so we did identify through the work of Betty Group 2 areas concerning around mold, specific areas, one at Finn and some areas at Neary. The facilities team worked closely with Beta Group and their mold consultant to identify where the water was coming in. That was identified and fixed and corrected. And then at Neary, as Joe had mentioned, some leaking pipes were mitigated. And then again, any surface mold that was found was cleaned up following the protocol.
And one step that was taken once that initial discovery was made is that we did have the group come back and retest areas and we found the source and were able to eliminate it. So that was good, which didn't come through in round 1 of the testing. So we were a little unsure about where it was coming from, but through some, a variety of investigations, we were able to figure it out and very confident that it's been eliminated.
I just had one more thing.
Go ahead.
So as district leaders, as school leaders, as educators, dealing with situations where you're trying to open up schools and you're finding these conditions that potentially are unsafe for students and educators is extremely stressful. And I would hope we can get to a place as a district where we don't have that pressure and stress because there are solutions. We need to find solutions to these problems because they're not going away. There will be humid days in the summer. We can continue to expect mold until we truly get solutions to these problems. And it does add a layer of stress and effort on the team, and that's including educators and principals and central office staff and the school committee to try to find solutions. So I think it's really important to emphasize that. There is a cost to it, and it's not just time and effort. It's not knowing whether you can open up buildings at the start of the school year is very stressful. And I think we can do better.
We would not have a company have mold in their buildings with employees in it, so we certainly can't have that for our student population. All right, Joe, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks for all your work.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to go back up to new business and number 3, transportation update.
Segue, huh? All right, so one thing I think the committee is aware of is that we did enter into a new 3-year contract. We went through the procurement process last year, and we did bring on NRT for another contract with us. One thing I'd say in a full appreciation to Becky is we have a different contract, not just a new one. So in that, it comes with a lot of layers, and huge help from the principals of gathering data and getting prepared for the start of that. But we are off to a good start. I do want to say kind of collectively we are off to a good start. NRT had a very busy summer of assuming a lot of different responsibilities, from routing to installing some of the technologies that we required. We're not fully there yet with all of our technologies, and I'll speak to that in a little bit, but we're off to a good start. So the nuts and bolts of our transportation operation is really around the routing and the quality of those routes and having drivers in seats. So for the start of school year, it's the first year that we have had a full complement of drivers and a complement of subs who have been used already to jump in and help us. So as far as Southborough is concerned, we're reporting good things across the board, being on time, with a minor couple of adjustments that need to be made, but very, very typical. One reason why that's true is we didn't have any major changes this year. We didn't separate our fleet. We didn't do anything radical with our start times. It was what we were doing last year, minus a couple of adjustments. So that was very favorable to give us a good chance to start the year off on a good foot, and so far, so good. The next piece I want to mention, it's very much for the parents, is that NRT introduced a new tracking app through Beacon Connect. This was, on paper and in simulation, a real big improvement for what they had prior. I don't even want to mention the name of the prior app because it just will be a chuckling fest. So Beacon Connect really stepped up its game. One thing that's true about it, though, is that it's a relatively new application for NRT and for the parent company. So what we learned from the beginning is that a lot of our parents needed individualized support to make sure they were getting the right tracking, the right notifications that worked for them. So one thing that I've been pushing, not only to principals, but to any parent that contacts us, is to reach out to them. There's an email address, and I'm hearing very good things about the customer service that our families are getting so that their situation can be customized. So that's one thing I encourage, if anyone reaches out to any of you, that they do use that email address. And if they don't get a response within, let's say, 48 hours, they can let me know, and then I'm on top of it. So very rare have I had to do that level of follow-up, and I have done a lot of additional, like getting back in touch with people after they've engaged with Beacon Connect, and it's been very favorable. But minus that engagement, the app has had like a mixed review to start. So I'm hoping that once people can get that into the groove and be willing to engage with them, that they'll have a favorable result. So overall, we are off to a good start, and now we're going to be segueing into adding some of those additional technologies like stop arm cameras, the RFID system that we're hoping to employ, and turn-by-turn directions for the drivers. About half of that is installed. It's a matter of training and kind of readiness, and the other half is still things that we're waiting to work with them on implementing. So we're off to a good start. I don't think I've said that in 4 years.
No.
That's great.
Not as long as I've known you.
That's right.
Anybody have any questions or comments about busing? Yes.
Two questions. So you said you've got about half of the capabilities installed so far.
That's right.
Is that intended, or did it just not go as quickly with them as you were hoping it would go? Or, I mean, I'm just sort of asking about it. That's
a little bit of both, Roger. I thought we would have a little more progress on some aspects of it, especially maybe with the training for the drivers. I was a little disappointed in that, so I've been all over that since the beginning of school. But other than that, the other things that we were expecting, Clayton and I have done some additional research on the pilot for the RFID, the card system we're going to be employing for students, which is exciting. So that was going to be a slower roll. That I anticipated not being ready for day one. So I'd say slightly disappointed in where we are.
I mean, I think we expected that the stop arm, the turn-by-turn, and the cameras would be ready for the start of the school year. That was our expectation. So they didn't meet our expectation. Keith is working on making sure that we get those technologies up and running, and so we were disappointed in that aspect of the start of the school year.
Is Clayton going to be programming the RFID system?
No, I'm no.
So my second question is, you mentioned that things needed to be customized for a parent.
Yeah.
Is that? Can you just, you may not even know, but can you give me an example, if you know one, of what that means?
Sure. So, like, for example, a parent may or may not be in this room. They will get a notification that the bus is at their home when it's in fact pulling into the Woodward driveway. So the notification doesn't match what's actually
That
happening.
seems to be a customization need.
Yeah, that's not a user error.
Okay.
And that's one of the things that's always been kind of part of this is, okay, how much of it is a user error versus a programming error? That's a great example of, it's a programming error.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with who's pushing the button.
Okay.
Evidence by screenshots.
I'm looking at Clayton again on the programming error. Just looking down.
Some of the feedback that I've just heard in general is people just have given up on the app. So I guess once you feel comfortable, like that the requests have kind of slowed down coming into them, would it make sense for you to send out a blast to parents who use the bus and just say, we think we've worked out a lot of the bugs. If you haven't gotten it to work, can you give it a try? And if not, reach out to this email address, just because I think people, it didn't work great last year, so people are almost used to not having it. And I would like people to have the opportunity to use it. And I think they were just getting frustrated in week 2 and just are like, no.
So before I do that, and I'd love to be able to do that, I need more data from them to tell me that it is in fact working with integrity.
Of course, understood.
So that's what I'm pushing for now, and I should be getting a report this week, but I'm not holding my breath.
Okay.
The second part of that is people are using the app in a lot of different ways. So sometimes they say they've given up, but they're still tracking. So they might have given up on this is what I've heard as well.
Yeah.
Is they've given up on the notification, but they can still see where the bus is. So I'm trying to figure out really what the issues are. And I that's the thing that's frustrating for me is I've been asking these questions from the beginning and I can't get a straight answer from them. So that's one of the things I'm also trying to get before I do make the next move. With how we're going to deploy.
And it would actually be too bad if, I'm sure it'll get over the hump, but then if people aren't aware and don't use it, that's a shame.
Yeah.
Because
and ultimately, we had to make that decision on the prior app, that we didn't have that confidence that it was going to work, so we didn't encourage people to try it.
The one thing we do need feedback from parents, because if we are in October and the app's not working, we've contracted with NRT to have an app, which is costing us money in the contract. There's penalties in the contract to be able to go back to NRT and say, you didn't deliver, we need, we need the penalty paid as a result.
When do those penalties start? Do you know, Becky?
They start,
Day one.
whenever we.
And I think that goes true for the safety features too, which are not transparent to families because they're not seeing that part on their phone. But I think those are actually more important than the app working. Not as as a parent, of course, like safety is, but I think we need to make sure that we're holding them accountable because that was one of the bigger things that we put into this current contract is making sure we could hold them accountable where we didn't have that opportunity last time. So I would encourage us to.
So I think the priorities are the turn by turn for the bus drivers. The cameras, the stop arm, and then making sure RFID, and then the app.
Yeah, right.
So
I agree.
It's, that's the priority that we're working from. And the nice thing is, we're not responsible for the app. It's their job to make it work.
Right. I didn't mean to make
You did not.
make it a negative conversation.
No, you did not.
Because I have gotten feedback that this is the best start to the school year that we've ever had with transportation. And I've heard that from several families. But I'd love to hear from the principals too, if you're having any hiccups or if this is kind of been a non-issue for your
I would
side.
say I never in my career as a principal, assistant principal, have I ever seen buses on time for the first day of school. I think I texted Keith, they were in at 9:05.
Wow.
On the
That's
first
great.
day of school.
We're the buses are certainly running more consistently. I think it was very, all things considered, a great start to the school year. I think drivers are still fine-tuning routes, how long it's going to take, which kiddos are on the bus each day. I think our ridership is up. I don't have that data to speak to tonight, but we're collecting that over the next several weeks. But as far as consistency goes for the drivers and the student experience, it's all positive.
I have to agree with Principal Mucci. I think our ridership is up, just being outside of dismissal time for drop-offs and in the morning for pickups and drop-offs. But I have to say, it's gone really well, and there's predictability for us. So we're the first school at the end of the day before we head to Woodward. So we know which buses are going to be the first 3 buses. We're able to get students loaded. We check every student off as they get onto the bus. So that predictability piece of it has been really beneficial for us. And same within the morning. I mean, we can predict within a few minutes who's going to be the first, second, third, last bus coming in. So very helpful for us to get our day started, as well as for getting the kids off and headed to Woodward in a timely manner. So that's very helpful.
Great.
Keep the trend going. It's been a great start to the year. Really impressed with the first day of school, as Clayton had mentioned. Also really impressed with Keith's office with working with new families moving into the district over the work that was done over the summer, and getting those kids onto buses pretty seamlessly was impressive. We also have a transfer of students from our high school. It's worked itself out very well. And our late buses just launched last week, and they are running very well.
And that's the first time we've launched the late buses this early, I probably think ever, Gary.
Really?
That's a testament to the driver, situation, and it's in a good spot. And that's a product of that.
That's great.
Yep.
And you're fully staffed right now?
Yes.
That's central officers.
Yeah, we have a couple, we have a couple drivers that, we have that aren't in their seat at the moment, but there is a competent sub behind the wheel that's handling it. So when you think of it, you're always going to have levels of absentee for a variety of reasons, and it's how that's managed. And so far, they've managed it all right.
Great.
That's when we fall apart.
I mean,
that's the biggest piece. App or no app, that's the most important part.
Yeah.
And just echo Gary's comments for, the transportation department, Sheila, Hannah, and Keith, and Becky plays a significant role. That, what we do is complex. We transport, 4,200 students to school and home from school. Many high schoolers don't drive the bus, but it's significant. It's a big operation. It's complex. It's dealing with kids on buses, drivers, traffic. So I just want to thank Keith and the team, and it is impressive of what they do with very few people.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Keith.
Welcome.
Tell Sheila.
I will.
All right.
She's listening.
Oh, okay.
No, she's not.
All right. Number 4, Municipal Technology Committee appointment.
So the Municipal Technology Committee, I think, and we have an expert in the audience, has been in existence for 7 or 8 years.
Thanks to the expert.
So we have the founder of the Municipal Technology Committee in the audience, and it's really a group of committed citizens and town employees who come together to really deal with matters of technology in the town, including information delivery, ensuring access to communication technology, increasing the efficiency of transactions involving the town and the district, ensuring effective deployment of infrastructure for the town's operation and the town citizens. So the school committee has 2 voting seats on that committee. One of those seats is vacant, and I'll work with Cheryl to post an advertisement for that seat. And then at the October school committee meeting, we can interview candidates who may be interested. And also, we've had some inconsistency with the technology director level across the district, so we now have a consistent, talented technology director in that position who will also be joining the FTC.
Great. Any questions on that?
Have we heard that, have you talked to Matt at all? Or we heard that he has anyone he might be recommending for us to interview at this point? Or?
I'll reach out to him.
Okay.
Number 5, revote $60,000 for feasibility and schematic design for Trotter Middle School roof. So we took care.
Can I
Go ahead.
recommendation?
Yeah.
So could we move?
Yeah, go ahead. What do you want to do?
And I should mention
number 2 under old business.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that principals can be
Okay.
here for that conversation.
Yeah.
And then
That's fine.
if it's the will committee dismissed, they can.
Yeah.
Let me clarify, Matt is Matt Probst, who's the chair of the technology committee for people that
Yeah.
didn't know what I meant.
All right, so we're going to C2. Update on school building task from 6/11/25.
Sure. So we already started this conversation. So we had 11 tasks that we were trying to accomplish over the summer. So I'll just give a status update on each of these tasks, and then for one of the tasks, we'll then go into a little bit more detail, a little more comprehensive. So the first task is update capital plan and really identify immediate needs. So that is the roof and the asbestos in the ceiling at Neary. So identifying a plan for what we'll do with that. So that is in progress. And conduct an evaluation of safety conditions. That was consulting with Beta Group. Identify the 6 to 12 month must-dos. So that is something that we have done. Look at the septic at Finn and Trotter. So that is in progress. Structural analysis of Neary. So we've reviewed the MSBA reports to see if there's any structural concerns with Neary. Update enrollment for the latest projections, comparison between RLS, NASDAQ, and actuals that has been completed. Update district reports completed in 2021 with current enrollment data that has been completed. Mechanism to receive feedback from the community. So that was a select board initiative where Laura, we had a seat as a school committee on doing that work. That has been completed. Develop an options table, including grade configuration and classroom needs. So that has been completed, and we'll share more detail about that. And lastly, send a communication to the Neary families, current and incoming, again around the status, what to expect. So the next communication that will go out to the Neary families, once we get the report, a link to the report and a summary for families to reassure them that Neary is a safe place for kids. So this evening, we'd like to talk a little bit more about the options table. So with new school grades 2 through 4 at Neary off the table, we spent a lot of time thinking about what's next and what are the viable options. I will share that during the process, the Neary Building Committee took to select a preferred option. There were 2 options. There was kind of a crossroads at one time during the process. One was an add renovation to Neary, existing building, and the other was a new grades 2 through 4 building. There was a lot of conversation of the committee. The committee was split at the time. And then analyzing the finances, the Neary Building Committee took the path of a new building, grades 2 through 4 consolidation at the Neary site. But there was serious...
2 through 5.
2 through 5.
2 through 5.
Thank you. So there was serious consideration for a renovation or addition to Neary as well at that time. So I will turn it over to Stephanie to talk about the educational options that were reviewed this summer. We took a tremendous amount of time with data that we've collected, working with principals and central office team. Stephanie took the lead and did an amazing job, and she'll kind of share our recommendations and our findings to the committee.
Thank you. So We went into a lot of detail at our last meeting about the process of how we did this and really talked very specifically. So what I'm going to do today is start knowing that you have all of that information and give the updates of what's happened since then. So since then, in terms of this heat map, sometimes it's referred to matrix, whatever you want to call it, what we have done is we have worked to remove subjective criteria. We've been responding to feedback as we have been working with the committee and public comment. So we removed criteria that was more subjective. We prioritized the criteria so that it was, you could see what was higher priority and what was lower priority. We refined the options, so option A, B, etc. And when I say refined, I mean just got more clear, again, in back and forth with the committee about what each option actually meant. And then as we did that, we had to keep iterating to say, therefore, what are our educational recommendations in every sort of cell of the matrix. I want to note that our recommendations are solely focused on the educational considerations. We did not investigate anything beyond that, whether it be plumbing, site, parking, any of those things. Even some things that are within the building, but this was focused on educational considerations and our educational vision. So going through the options, I'm going to share what would be supported from the perspective of educational considerations from the school district, and then as using the language of the MSBA, what would be the preferred option, knowing everything that we know at this point in the process. So option A, do you want me to say what those options are as I go through them?
Yeah.
So option A, which is Trotter serves grades 3 through 6, Woodward serves grades 7 and 8, is not recommended by the school district. Option B, which is using the existing buildings, Finn serves pre-K to 2, Woodward serves 3 to 4, Trotter serves 5 to 8, would not be supported by the school district. Option B2, which is the same configuration but with expansion and renovation of the buildings, Finn pre-K to 2, Woodward 3 and 4, which would not need renovation or expansion, Trotter with expansion and renovation to serve 5 through 8, would be supported by the school district. Option C, which is minimal renovation to Neary, which assuming deferred maintenance only, which is really the roof and any necessary asbestos work that would come with it, would be supported as a short-term bridge to another option. Option D, which is Finn expanded and renovated to serve 5 grades, pre-K to 3, and Woodward becomes a 4-5 building, would be supported. Option E, which is a full ADA current code compliant renovation of Neary, would be supported. Option F, which is a new 4-grade school, would be supported. Option G, which is a new pre-K to 5 school at a suitable location, including a new pre-K to 5 school on a suitable location, would be supported. Option H, which is Finn pre-K to 2 with modulars turned permanent, Woodward 3 to 5 with modulars turned permanent, and Trotter remaining 6 to 8, would not be supported by the district. Of those options, knowing what we know now, including having gone through the process of bringing a 4-grade school forward to the town, the recommendation from the school district is the preferred option is option E, which is the full ADA compliant, code compliant renovation of Neary.
So first, does anybody have any comments or questions about how Stephanie laid out options A through H. Does everybody agree with the district's position on A through H?
Yes.
You do?
I do.
Okay. Just wanna make sure. I do too. Okay. And so let's talk about option E. And do you want to elaborate on why that's the preferred option? Understanding that there are other options that the district could get behind, but why is E the preferred path?
Do you want me to go?
You can start, I can add.
I think, as you said, there are many, and many beyond even what's on this page, ways that we can meet the educational needs of students. And as we have, as Mr. Martineau said earlier, this was always on the table as part of the work of the Neary Building Committee, and it is a way to meet our educational vision. And knowing what we know about the appetite of the town for a new building, this is something that we've just looked at more closely to see in what ways can we meet the educational needs. And so we're just taking all of those points into consideration.
I think one of the criteria that we we ranked as a high priority was reducing the number of transitions. So that was really kind of a driving priority that we set, but it wasn't a compelling priority for the community. So, although we still stand by reducing the transitions, allows us to maximize resources, spend more time focused on getting to know students. It's not a compelling reason. It wasn't a compelling reason for the community, and therefore, we feel like the next best option is really a renovation of Neary, and keeping the transition model that we have, the two grade, the 3 grades at Finn, 2 at Woodward, and 2 at Neary.
Go ahead, Roger.
So I just want to, I don't want to get down into the weeds here, but when you say it wasn't a compelling, the reduction of transitions was not a compelling reason for the community. That's because they voted down the option that would have eliminated the transitions? That's why you feel?
Yeah,
because I haven't talked to, at least, I haven't talked to one parent, of a child that isn't in favor of fewer transitions. Now, if you're talking about, obviously that wasn't the only group that voted, but
a lot of parents that we spoke to, again, are pleased with kind of the configuration we have. And,
fair enough.
Having less transitions was not something that got them out to vote yes.
That's certainly proved to be true. But have you found people that said, well, we like all these transitions?
No, but I think that's a different thing.
Okay, fair enough.
We have had people say to us, that's not a top priority.
Understood.
Whereas
I understand.
for a long time, that was a driving top priority.
Fair
And
enough.
people have said, it'd be nice, but it's not a top priority.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that there aren't families who it is a top priority. It's again, part of the work is, whatever the next solution is, that it's a solution that the town can support. So there are some options on here that I think are great options, but would question whether they, the town would get behind. For whatever reason, maybe expense, cost, whatever other reasons.
If we can do these for free, I think the town will support it.
Yeah, and I think our task was to bring to the school committee vetted options based on the education priorities that we have, and make a recommendation. So our goal this evening was not to limit and say this is the only option, but rather say this is our preferred option. But there still remains other options for the community to discuss and vet. And we need, there's some immediate needs, and we'll talk about the roof, on the agenda, but there are some immediate needs that we need to take care of. So that's part of the conversation too. And, so that's important to discuss.
I think it's important for us to talk about these as the pre-K to 8 committee is kind of wrapping up their work as well, so that they understand kind of the rationale and the backing of what the school committee's looking for. And I do think it's important, to Greg's point, that we find a solution for our students that the community can support, because we could come up with endless things that we want to do, but that's not always the path that we should be going down. So I think that option E is the kind of it makes sense to me to be the next step in this process to support as a preferred option. And that way, as the select board gets the information from the pre-K to 8 committee, they'll at least know where the school committee stands as a preferred, understanding that there are other options that educationally could be supported. But, this would, I think for a lot of reasons other than education, this is a good option.
When does the pre-K to 8 committee recommend whatever they're going to recommend to the select?
I don't know if they're actually recommending it. If I said that, I was wrong. Sorry.
They're filling in the grid.
It's the information they're charged on September 30th.
And so on September 30th, they provide information?
To the select board.
Like the result of the survey? And
they have a matrix, right?
Yeah.
They're working on.
So we took the educational task. Other members of the pre-K through 8 children committee are taking on cost estimates, looking at other factors that would go into making decisions. Again, information for the select board to take on and use to make decisions.
But this is our wheelhouse, obviously. Well, it's the district's wheelhouse. This is Stephanie's piece of work. So if you're all ready for this, I'll make a motion that we support the yeses and nos as presented this evening, as well as our preferred option is option E.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, 4-0. Thank you.
Excuse me, is this document available for the public to view?
It should be.
Where would I find it?
We can post it to the packet.
Is it in, my phone
It's not in the
have reception?
It's not in the packet. Do you have a hard copy?
Was from the pre-K to 8 school building.
We'll make it
8/26/25.
Betsy, we'll make it available online tonight, but I'm going to give you my copy.
Oh, that's okay.
I have plenty of them.
Thank you. So where would I find it and other people find it?
So we're going to post it to the school committee packet online, and if they go to the calendar on the district website and look for this meeting and click on it, it will have the packet there and all the supporting materials.
So start with the school district website.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Is there any other update on the pre-K to 8 school building committee other than what we just talked about?
The next meeting is tomorrow night, so I think the committee continues to fill out the spreadsheet with information, and I think at this point, the information is being vetted and making sure it is up to date and accurate.
Great. Do you want to just talk about number 3 under old business, annual school inspections, and then the principals?
Yeah, turn it over to Steve.
Sure. Let me get that up. All right, so as part of our work over the spring and through the summer is, obviously to get our buildings ready for a new school year and next series of annual inspections. So we did partner with the interim building inspector, Gene Novak. That process started in the spring, carried over into the summer. He had a variety of recommendations for us, especially at the Neary School, to get things squared away. We had a complete list. All of the items on that list that were top priority were taken care of satisfactorily. He came and did a re-inspection at the usual time, which is usually in the middle of August or so, as we put the buildings back together and get them ready for the start. And we did not have any deficiencies at all, not only at the Neary School, but all 4 buildings. And that's also coupled with the fire department doing their annual safety inspection as well. And then each individual building has certain systems that are annually inspected, elevator and ANSEL systems and things of that nature, and all of which came back above board, making us ready to go for the start. So, but I do want to thank Gene for his collaboration. It was excellent. He was very honest and forthright and transparent about what he saw, and we were able to make some, pretty good improvements to the Neary School.
Great. Awesome.
And our buildings have passed inspection year over year.
Yes.
So I think with Gene coming back, this was a little more in-depth.
It was a little more in-depth, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's helpful.
That's great.
And we are waiting now, but actually Brian's probably going to be reaching out to Gene with the next day or so for our copy of our occupancy permits.
Great. All right. Awesome. All right. You guys can enjoy the rest of your evening. Sorry,
Thanks,
we'll
guys.
be
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good
Thanks for
year.
all your work.
Good school year.
Thanks, Todd. Okay. All right, so now we're going to revote the $60,000 for feasibility and schematic design for Trotter Middle School roof. So we had voted this in August because the original quote that we had, that we went for at annual town meeting, came in short, and so we are using the facility revolving account, but we needed to have MSBA language because this Trotter roof project is through the MSBA program. So I'm going to read this into the record so that Becky has what she needs in order, right? Or Keith, whoever.
Both of us.
You guys. All right, so I move to see if the Southborough School Committee will vote to appropriate the sum of an additional $60,000 from available funds, an amount of money to be expended under the direction of Southborough School Committee for owner project management services and schematic design for the P. Brent Trotter Middle School roof replacement project at 49 Parkerville Road, Southborough, which proposed repair project would materially extend the useful life of the school and preserve an asset that otherwise is capable of supporting the required educational program, and for which the town has applied for a school construction grant from the Massachusetts Building Authority, MSBA. To meet this appropriation, the Southborough School Committee is authorized to appropriate from available funds said amount under MGL Chapter 44 or any other enabling authority. The town acknowledges that the MSBA's grant program is a non-entitlement discretionary program based on need as determined by the MSBA. And if the MSBA's Board of Directors votes to invite the town to collaborate with the MSBA on this proposed repair project, any project costs the town incurs in excess of any grant that may be approved by and received from the MSBA shall be the sole responsibility of the town. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. We're on.
Thank you.
Okay. Warrant language for Neary roof.
So I'll provide some context and turn it over to Keith. So I'm going to go back a little bit, but I'll be quick. In that school year 2018-2019, the district submitted a statement of interest to the Mass School Building Authority to enter in its accelerated repair program, which supports roofs, windows, and HVAC systems. So we submitted a statement of interest for the fin roof and the fin boiler, the trottier roof, and we decided at the time not to submit a statement of interest for NERI because of a potential upcoming project at NERI. So the boiler was accepted at that time, and we moved forward with it. The fin roof and the trotted roof were not accepted. So in the meantime, we knew we weren't submitting a statement of interest for NERI. We did some assessments of the roof to ask our roofing consultant, are there any short-term solutions to get us 5 or 6 years in the NERI roof? So at the time, there was a solution that would give us 5 years. We implemented that solution, and knowing that we were going to do most likely an MSBA submission into the core building project program for NERI. We were invited into the NERI core building program. We went through the process, and it resulted in a failed vote, so no project. However, the roof still remains an issue. We are now at the end window of when we were going to buy time. We bought our time, and now we really have to find, we need a new roof. So the time's now for a new roof. One of the reasons we talked about the pathway of a renovation is that if we put on a new roof, if we invest in a new roof, it's not a short-term investment. If we renovate NERI, it's a long-term investment. And we talked at the last meeting in August around putting a warrant article for a NERI roof in the full amount, which was $4.25 million. So Keith has some updates around different pathways that we could take.
Great. So I will share my screen just so you guys can see the visual to help understand this a little bit better. Hopefully it won't pop up. There we go. Voila. Can you see that again? Should I blow up a little more? Too much. That's all right. I think that one, it gets clipped. 150? 150? Yeah. All right. Right, great. That'll be good enough. Okay, so as Greg said, these are roof replacement options, and they fall under 2 different timelines, and that's what's important to kind of understand from this. So option 1, I'll go through kind of the sequence of that first, and then I'll go through the sequence of option 2, and then let you know what our recommendation would be. So for option 1, as Greg stated, based on our last inspection and report from our roofing consultant, we would request the full project funding at the October 2025 town meeting, which would be in the sum of $4.25 million. If that was approved, we would then follow through with different layers of procurement. The first would be a solicitation for a request for qualifications for the design process. We'd enter into a contract with an architect that would really conduct all the planning. We'd finalize the schematic design and bid documents in the early part of 2026, and then we would go out for bid in February of 2026 if all of that went well. The last line of that says that a potential construction project could begin in the spring, somewhere between April and June. Obviously, with the availability of a qualified contractor would be probably an asterisk I would put on that time, because we want to make sure we get a high-quality contractor. So that would carry us through. If you look over to option 2 has a slightly delayed timeline with a little more detail. The first would be we could start relatively shortly a request for design and cost estimating services, and this would be funded through our facilities rental revolving account, which is something we could authorize relatively quickly. And then the same kind of procurement process would unfold from a request of qualifications all the way way through for an invitation to bid, and it would be done relatively in the same timeline. The only thing that would pause it is that it would be dependent upon the annual town meeting in the spring of 2026, where we would ask for the full project amount, hopefully around 4.25 million, which is what we estimate that this could be, and then that would just push out the potential of a start date a little further due to that, minor delay. So as you can see, like, both options are really in line with each other. I would say that the option 2 will just give us a little more confirmation that that number of 4.25 is solid. That would be something that option 2 would gain us the benefit of, whereas option 1, we would go with what we currently have in hand.
I would just add to that, also provides a little bit more flexibility.
Flexibility, yep.
Around exploring other options if that is decided as something.
Right.
The committee would want.
And that would be part of what the architect would explore.
Yeah.
Would be to get more of that information complete, which will require a little more investigation.
Okay. Anybody have any?
But when I was talking about options, I'm talking about the options that Dr. Reinhardt presented.
Understood. Yeah, right. Well, it gives us more time to react to the conclusion of the pre-K-8 committee's report or matrix, as well as collaborating with the select board and the town on a path forward, hopefully, and hopefully a timeline, some sort of timeline. Are we going back into MSBA? Are we not going back into MSBA? What kind of project are we looking to do? So thoughts on this? Yeah.
So, refresh my memory on this, because is a roof excluded from the handicap percentage compliant limit?
ADA.
That it is?
No, I'm saying ADA.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
Right?
88.
Does it trigger?
Is it excluded from the amount of money that would trigger
so
the
we need
full?
We didn't understand that, yeah.
It's at 30% if you make an investment of 30% of the overall value of the building.
Right, but we know that the value,
Then that would
depreciated value is not much.
trigger. So, and this is where we need to work with Jean and the building inspector. What we've heard, and we haven't confirmed, that roofs are exempt from triggering code compliance, whether it's ADA, electrical, et cetera. But that's something we need to confirm with the building inspector.
And I've heard it a couple of times, but I don't know enough to
Same here.
be comfortable with the confirmation or not.
But again, if you think about the preferred option, if you put a new roof and you trip compliance and the community supports a renovation, that's a fully code compliant ADA solution that would bring the building up to standards.
Like, we wouldn't do a renovation without becoming ADA compliant,
Right.
right?
Couldn't.
Right.
Yeah, couldn't.
I mean, that would have to happen. So option A is keeping the warrant article proposal to select board, which I believe they're finalizing the warrant on Tuesday, for the full amount, which would obviously be bonded, or taking a slower approach, which means delaying 3 months. Let's call it 3 months, right? And with option A, the intent was actually to start construction while students were in school.
As much as we could, just to
Get going.
Get going.
So this would essentially mean if it was approved in annual town meeting in option B, that we would be opening our school year next fall with an incomplete roof.
Correct.
And we've done similar projects on schools, so we have experience with that.
Not the end of the world.
No.
My only concern with option B is if it doesn't pass at town meeting, then we have an even shorter timeline. Not that we have a backup option right now for if option A doesn't pass, but, so I really think we need to make sure this is a smart investment for the town and for the school district. Because obviously we don't want to spend $4 million and then not have it live its useful life. But we also sat here and listened tonight of the dire situation that our roof is in. So, we're kind of caught in a tough place right here.
Are you leaning one way or the other? And I'm going to ask the district the same question.
On A or B?
Yes.
Yeah. Was I
Is that
discreet
the
enough?
Is that the answer? You're leaning one way or the other?
I am.
Thank you.
I am. Do you know which way I'm leaning though?
I suspect, well, I was guessing A, but I'm not sure.
I'm not.
To B, huh?
Yeah.
All right. How about the district?
Our recommendation is option 2.
Was it not A and B?
Yeah.
Sorry, 1 and 2.
Everyone followed. It was followed.
I just wanted it was a test to see if you were.
A lot of options.
Sorry. Well, we just did letters on A to H, so
I know. That's why we did it different.
And the reason is because I don't want at October town meeting to be questioned. I don't want people to not vote for it because they're questioning the number.
Well, the rest of us can go with one,
I'd rather work with professionals on making sure that we're accurate, and it'll give us more time. I mean, if you read the roof report, at the end, it kind of gives like other options that aren't really options. So I'd rather have it be very clear on what we're looking to do. And I do think it makes sense to give us some time to see what the long-term plan is for the schools. I mean, I'd love to know what we're doing and that we're going to have a safe school, not that it's not safe, that we're going to have a non-leaky roof.
Dry school.
Like, that we're not going to have buckets in the classrooms. That's what I'm trying to get away from.
You ready for a motion?
I mean, well, I don't know. Do you agree with me? You don't agree with me?
So I can make a motion whether I do or not, right?
I do, and I guess my quick question too is just so I'm like totally clear and understanding, in option 1, if the full project funding is approved, but then, later down the road, there's more cost that accrues or like it becomes more expensive, what happens in that scenario? Because that's could be another stopping point for us. Whereas in this scenario, you're kind of already getting, like, this is how much it costs and up to date, like, with more certainty.
I mean, I think anytime you go out to bid, you have the risk that, it just happened with the Tri-Year roof, right?
The closer you are to the bid to when you're asking for funding to start the project, the more accurate your estimate. Correct. So the estimate that we have was done in the spring, in May. So it would be almost a year before we started. So less accurate than option 2.
Yep. Just wanted to make sure that was clear too, that anyone listening, just helping to understand that makes sense.
So what will the vote be? What will in other words, would it be to support option 1 or 2? Is that really what we want the school committee to do?
And I think depending on what which one we vote, then it then leads to other votes.
Correct.
Because if we do option 2, we would have to vote to use the facility rental revolving account to fund engineering, feasibility.
Yes.
And a motion to pull the warrant article from the warrant. I don't know that we would need a subsequent vote if we did option 1.
You ready for a motion?
Sure.
So I'll move that we support option 2.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I do think it would be beneficial if we have our consultant's roof report made public.
Agreed.
I think it should be somewhere where the townspeople can read it and see exactly what we have seen.
Yeah.
And secondly, I agree that option 2 is better because I think it's more in line with knowing what the direction may be, because I think a new roof in Erie, precludes, we don't want to waste money.
Yeah.
So it might preclude whatever discussion there may be. So I think it gives us a little bit more time, but I do think it's definitely important to get the roof done.
And the logistics may be a little more challenging at the end, but I think there's a lot more benefit, from that direction, as trading off. What happens by waiting, if you will.
And Becky, can you just give a quick update? You're probably going to talk about this later, but just for this discussion on where we're at with the facility revolving account, because we just approved $60,000 to come out of it for the Trotter roof.
So yes, I was going to discuss this later, but what I'm estimating, based on a beginning balance as of July 1 of just about $138,000. And then we also anticipate revenues of $77,000, and that comes from the rents that is paid to Southborough from both Northborough and the regional district for the central office space, as well as for space that's used at both Woodward and Trotter for the Aspet Valley Collaborative Classroom. So I'm anticipating a fund balance of about $210,000. If you subtract the 60, that's 150, and so that would still leave us with $150,000 to use for this feasibility.
Okay.
What is the cost of the feasibility?
Unsure, because we haven't gone through the procurement, but we have some comparisons. The hope is that it doesn't exceed $100,000.
So we look back at the account and how much we've expended in that account for emergencies. So in the past 5 to 7 years, there have been 2 emergencies. One was an electrical issue at Trotter that I think was about $30,000.
35, yep.
And then the second issue, another year, was hot water here at Finn, and that was under...
Near 25? Right, about 25?
Yeah.
Near.
So that $30,000 to $50,000 for emergency repair or expense is where we feel comfortable. So $100,000 not to exceed for the feasibility and engineering, and then $50,000 to have for an emergency.
Yeah, 'cause you wouldn't want to deplete that.
But I think we also need to remember that we have been able to fund capital projects out of there that haven't hit the tax rate, right? So there is an implication here of, I think Becky has worked hard on getting things off of the capital plan, meaning not having to go to town meeting for some of these things. So that would limit our ability to take something off of the annual town meeting for capital, which are not emergency items, right? They're like paving and I can't remember.
We redesigned the Woodward parking lot, and the wall, and the Finn paving.
In here.
Trotter paving.
Yeah.
Which I think is important for the townspeople to understand that those items were paid for out of the revolving account, and it didn't have to impact the budget or the bottom line at town meeting.
Yeah. But I think if we do it this way, that's off the table, but then you're also not going to town meeting to ask for the feasibility money. Okay, so we have a motion on the table that's been seconded. All in favor? All right, that's 4-0. Okay, so then I'm going to make a motion that we remove the request for a warrant article for the fall 2025 town meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Denise. Any discussion? All in favor? 4-0. Thank you. And then do you want a motion on the facility rental, or do you want to get an amount before, or not to exceed?
I would say if we voted not to exceed, because we're really not going to know the amount until we go out for the request for
That's correct.
qualifications.
Okay, all right. So I'll move that we approve up to $100,000 to be utilized from the facility rental revolving account for feasibility
And schematic design.
and schematic design for the Neary roof. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Laura. Any discussion? All in favor? 4-0. Thanks. Okay. So I don't think we need to talk about, I don't think we need to talk about 7, do we? Okay. Approvals of grants and donations. So we have 3 grants in our packet. How are we only on the second page of the packet? Oh. Sorry. That was just like so defeating. Okay. So these are all requested from Sylvie I assume that they're all for her department. Is that accurate?
Approval of cyber grants on behalf of charities.
Sorry.
So that is, goes to John Parent for the technology department, is the first grant.
Okay.
And then the Southborough Extended Day program is the second, and then the third is a donation from Amazon to all the schools. So
Got it. Okay,
all
sorry.
non-self.
Okay. Any comments or questions about any of the grants A, B, or C? All right, well, thank you to Cyber Grants, American Online Giving Donation, and, which I don't think we know who that is, and Amazon. So I'll move that we accept $250 from Cyber Grants LLC, $65 from American Online Giving Program for Southborough Extended Day Program, and $1,080 from Amazon to Southborough Public Schools. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? 4-0. Thanks. Okay. All right, subcommittee assignments. Okay.
As long as I can stay on the Neary Building Committee, I'd be happy to remove it from everything else. It's going to be a big focus for me.
We actually should probably take that off.
You wondered if I'd actually look at the list?
You could be there by yourself, Roger. Could be a committee of one.
Okay. So we need someone to be on the budget committee. Kamali and I did that before.
I can do that.
Okay, Denise. Roger, you're the alternate.
Correct.
You and Alan are capital planning.
Correct.
And we have a subcommittee, joint subcommittee meeting with capital and operational budget on September 29th, I think, right? During the day? We do. Internal subcommittees.
Yes.
Sorry.
We have it back-to-back.
Oh, is it back-to-back? It's not together? Oh, all right.
But you're right.
Okay. And then,
It's the 29th?
yeah, I think it's in your calendar.
Probably is.
It's at noon, I think.
I was looking at one of Cheryl's emails today, and I couldn't connect up the date with anything on my calendar, but this wasn't it. This wasn't it.
We just redid policy subcommittee. Payroll, that's like not a big deal. So I'm good with the standing unless anybody wants to change something. That's fine. We're good with that? Okay. And then under optional committees, collective bargaining will keep as is, right? Educational foundation, if somebody wants to do that, we can. I don't know that we had anybody do it last year.
I can if you want me to. if we want to fill it.
Did Denise say she?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's a good idea to
All right,
have someone
so
do it.
Denise, you wanna do that?
It doesn't, there really isn't much time, but I think.
No, that's
Okay.
fine. Yep.
Food services, are we going to do anything right now with food services?
Not at the moment, no, not committee-wise.
Okay. Health and wellness, I would like to stay on that for this year. PTOs, SOS, Laura?
Yep.
NSPAC? Roger?
I'm fine
Okay.
on that.
Selectmen?
I'm
Okay.
fine on that.
Senior citizens?
I'm happy to do it.
We don't have anybody doing it right now.
Well, go ahead, put me in on that.
All right.
I fit right in that group, you know?
MTC, I don't know that we need that if we have John and two.
Yeah.
Master plans, that's fine. Mentor to new members, I don't think we need that right now.
Which one?
Mentor to new members, that we had Kathleen Plutchko do.
Well, Kathleen's still available for it, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
we don't have any
we can just leave
members,
her,
right?
that's fine. Near building, we'll put NA. Strategic
Sure.
planning committee, we'll do NA. Calendar study group,
So strategic planning committee.
oh yeah,
So we are reauthorizing the plan this year.
Okay.
So we are going to have some focus groups, so it might be
Okay.
helpful to assign someone. to
okay.
that.
So does anybody want to do that one? What is it, can you explain what that means?
Yeah, so we're reauthoring our strategic plan, so it's a matter of, having different focus groups with families, parents, educators, students, revisiting our core values, our mission, our vision, and then setting the strategic priorities for the next 5 years and what are our goals for the next 5 years that we'll focus on.
When does it meet?
We're identifying a schedule, but the focus groups will be at various times. We'll try to make it accessible to working parents.
Okay.
It's probably maybe two meetings.
Like total?
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
oh.
I can do that.
I was gonna say I can do that.
I can, yeah, either.
You want two
whichever.
or you want?
Two would be helpful.
All right. I'll do it with Denise. All right. Calendar?
I'm fine staying on it. I mean,
I think it's going to be
if somebody else wants to do it, that's fine too.
Inactive for
I don't
now.
think there's going to be,
Yeah. All right.
so eliminate,
making
make it an X.
All right. Coalition for Equity is Alan. Do you want a second one on that? Did Kamali do that before too?
Kamali was, and then Alan took
Okay.
Kamali's.
Okay. And the liaison to the solar feasibility study group? Roger?
I'm good with it.
Yeah.
What's up with that? Is that still,
If we can get a new Trout Air roof,
yeah, okay.
come with.
All right.
Maybe a new Neary roof too. We can talk feasibility, Roger.
You'd miss me if I wasn't on
I
it.
would, very much so.
All right.
It wouldn't be as bright.
Do we need to vote those or are you good with that? Here. Okay.
Thank you very much. That's impressive.
Yeah, that's good. Very willing committee here. All right. Okay. Superintendent's report to the committee, enrollments.
So in your packet is the enrollment report as of August 22nd. So I think we are within the class size policy, second grade at the grade level that we are watching closely. We have 20.17 students per class. So we're right at the ceiling of our class size policy.
So we had a lot of move-ins.
We did.
Yeah.
Second grade, and then
First grade?
First grade, sixth grade.
In six.
Sixth grade, like.
Yeah.
Whoa. They were at like 150.
Wow.
Is that like the biggest class we've seen? And
It's close.
I mean, that's a big class.
Yeah.
I mean, we just had
I don't
close to
know.
500.
Well, yeah, I mean, in
yeah.
recent years.
Yeah, that's
So,
a big class.
yeah.
That's a pretty large class.
Yep.
Although third grade must have had move-ins too. They weren't that high.
They were close.
They were close. That was
We
one
had
or
eight
two.
sections in
Okay.
second grade.
Okay.
So we'll continue to monitor enrollment.
And NASDAQ's doing their next
So-
projection in October?
Yeah, so they'll request data from us probably in the next few weeks, and then we usually get that end of October, early November.
Okay. All right.
And then I will turn it over to Becky for the financial reports.
Okay, so I will start with the FY25, the monthly general fund report that's dated as of June 30th, 2025. So the operational budget for last year was just over 24 million, and I'm pleased to say that we ended the fiscal year with a $0 balance. There were 3 accounts that were overexpended and have not yet been approved by the school committee. Those are tuition reimbursement, textbooks, that was for the purchase of our K-8 math curriculum, and then also technology infrastructure, and that was for the purchase of a new server that was for the entire district. The 3 areas really that were our biggest budget drivers in FY25 were teaching special education. As you can see, that line item was over by $228,000. I will say that was due to a rather complex case that we had in the district, and those funds were actually elsewhere within the budget because we had anticipated a tuition for that case. Also, long-term substitutes was another area, another driver. This is actually the first year that we tracked them in this way, and it's very helpful for us. We created that line item last year, and so now it really gives us a sense for what those expenses are, and that represents any staff or any substitutes that are filling positions for greater than 30 days. So when we're preparing the FY27 budget, this is definitely going to be a big help for us. And then lastly is the salary tutor line, and that was because we did add a tutor at Finn in the library, and that was budgeted in another line item. However, we did have to put it in that account, so it did show that that line was showing as overexpended. So at this point, I would actually ask the school committee to vote on the entire list of overexpended funds that I included in your packet, and also to vote on the monthly general fund report until audited.
When you mean the entire list, you mean for the year?
For the year,
Okay.
yes, just to cover
Okay.
us. I did go through and do a comparison,
Yeah.
and we did hit on all of them, but
Okay.
I think just to cover us, it would be nice just to vote on everything.
Okay.
And some did fall off because some of our projections were not quite there. So.
Okay. All right, so I'll move, I don't have to read all of them.
No, no.
After reading the other
As
motion.
presented.
If you want to.
No, I don't. So I'll move that the school committee approve all of the budget line overages for FY25 as presented, as well as accept the FY25 monthly general fund report as of June 30th, 2025 until audited.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? 4-0. Thank you.
Okay. Now I'll move on to the fiscal year 2026 budget. So obviously this report is only reflective of 2 months worth of expenses. So far we have only expended $1.3 million. However, I do want to commend Corianne Bardley, who is the Southborough financial coordinator. She's done a great job at going through each of the lines and making sure that, the appropriate purchase orders are put in place and all the encumbrances are put into the system. So right now, our ending balance is $709,000, or 2.82% of the total operational budget. But again, the majority of this is salaries that has been encumbered, and she has also done a fabulous job with this. So I feel that this is a great number for us to be starting with at this point in time of the year. Also, as a reminder to the committee that whenever we are looking at overages and accounts, if a school does need something and their account is over, they do request a budget transfer. It's, I'm going to put in quotes, transfer, because it's done. I keep a rolling spreadsheet of that so that we track what transfers have been done, so that we know that there is money in another account to cover an overage. So that's just a reminder that that is done every year. So right now, there are 11 accounts that are listed in your packet as being overexpended. The majority of those are due to salaries, and I have put notes as to what the reasoning is for the overages. I won't read each of them to the committee because you can see what they are. Many of them are rather small. And one I do want to point out is the salary teachers line item, and that is because we did have a staff member who's actually going to be paid for a grant, and the only reason that that line item is showing as over is we were just waiting for the account number from the town so that we can move those funds into that account. So I do not anticipate that line to continue to be overexpended. I also wanted to just give you a little bit of information about our special education transportation. At the end of FY25, actually I think it was probably closer to the beginning of FY26, the state legislature did pass a supplemental budget that appropriated additional money to school districts for special education transportation through the circuit breaker program. So as a result of that, Southborough did receive an additional payment of $59,183 that can be used towards special education transportation services, and we can use those funds either in this fiscal year or in next fiscal year. So that actually brought our reimbursement up to 75% of our expenses. So that was helpful to receive that money.
Great.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes.
All right, any questions for Becky? All right, I'll move that Southborough School Committee accept the FY26 monthly general fund report as of August 31st, 2025 until audited, and approve the function codes listed this evening that are overexpended in FY26.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? 4. Approval of warrants and payables. Payrolls, sorry.
So also included in your packet is a listing of all of the payroll warrants as well as the accounts payable warrants that have been approved so far via DocuSign in FY26. So on a monthly basis, I will be providing the committee with a listing of what has been approved. Roger and Chelsea are the committee members who are approving those for us. And if any committee members are interested in seeing those, the supporting documentation, they can always reach out to me and we can provide you with that information.
Great. Anybody have any questions on these? This is something that this is new, right?
Yes.
And
Yep.
this is something that the school committee is required to vote. So I'll move that the school committee approve the warrants and payrolls to date for FY26.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? 4. Thank you. Capital plan.
Yes, so in your packet is a draft of the FY 27 through 36 capital plan. So at the September 29th meeting, we'll discuss this in more detail. And I will be working with the chair of the town's capital committee to schedule a time where we can present this to the town's capital plan committee. But again, Keith has been doing some work alongside Brian Fantoni and really identifying what are the key expenses for FY27 and the next 10 years.
And this includes some of the items that Joe was talking about
This
earlier.
includes all of the items that Joe was talking about.
Great. Okay. All right. Thank you. Revolving funds.
Okay, back to me. Just to provide the committee with a little bit of background, so I did present you with both where the revolving accounts, the 3 revolving accounts that I report on a monthly basis, and that's food services, facility rental, and extended day, where they ended FY '25. So you can see food services did have an ending fund balance of $223,000. Facility rentals, as I mentioned earlier, was just under $130,000, and extended day was $356,702. So I have started to make some predictions for the upcoming fiscal year. I do want to point out, though, that food services and extended day, that those encumbrances that I've listed in the second to last column really are only for known payroll and salaries, so this does not include any of the supplies. It doesn't include any of the timesheets that we receive from staff. So this is just for that known amount. And I have also taken anticipated revenues based on historical data and also last fiscal year. So I think that the food services and the extended day ending balances are inflated just because it does not include all of the costs that will be, and I will continue to work on that and fine tune that and come up with some predictions so that we have a better number. And then the facility rental we did talk about tonight, so I think based on the votes tonight, we're looking at probably an ending balance of about $50,000. Okay.
And can you speak to, for FY '25, the food services and why we took a loss there?
So some of the expenses, we did have some capital items that we've been hit. It feels like everything has been breaking.
Correct.
So we did have a little bit more in terms of those type of expenses, but we do consider those to be one-time expenses.
Okay.
Yeah.
And those came in before June 30th?
Yes.
Yes.
Paid for?
We're at the end of the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're only allowed a certain fund balance.
Exactly.
So,
It's so many times revenue or something?
Yes, it's 3 months worth of expenses.
Oh, 3 times.
so
Okay.
it's wise to spend on those capital programs.
Okay, so we're not concerned?
No.
Okay.
No, we're not.
And
we really keep a close eye on the food services. Sunny is always working with Keith on it, and we're going over those expenses, and we're monitoring that 3 months.
I can't believe I forgot to put food service update on here. I can't believe it.
It's constant.
Can't discuss it.
Can't discuss
On the
it.
agenda.
I know. I can't believe I forgot to do that. Sorry. Next month.
Next month.
Can I just make a comment too on the extended day balance?
Yeah.
This is how many years?
This is our
Going into our
in our
fourth.
fourth year.
Starting our
So,
fourth.
again, we have not raised the fees. The only fees that we have raised are for summer and field trips. But this continues to be, I think, a very reasonable cost and a high-quality program. We've also been able to add nurses and incorporate some of our district protocols into the extended day operations. So it's been a success.
And if you look at the FY '25 numbers, we're really, our beginning balance was 336. We ended with 356,000. Revenues were 950. Our expenses were 930. So we're really, I think, doing a great job in terms of staying within the revenues that we are bringing in.
And that would this include our summer program revenues, but not expenses?
Exactly.
So,
yeah. Well, it would have been the prior year's expenses,
Right.
though. So we're always, because of the June 30.
But that probably explains part of the close, like the revenue matching the expenses more is because the revenue we would have bumped in FY '25. Okay, great. Did you have a question?
Well, when you say that, when we looked at a couple of the balances, you said they do look inflated, but, well, I think you said they're a little inflated. A little inflated?
I would say extended day is inflated because we don't have the full expenses included in there. Yeah. Yeah, and food services, we're, the same thing where we know some of the salaries, but we get timesheets. It does not include, our management. We'll be paying a management service fee to Whitson's on a monthly basis. So while we, get used to this new food services world, I think once we have a couple of months under our belt, then we'll be able to really put some better numbers into both of those lines.
We'll talk about that next month.
Yes, yes. And then for preschool, we did anticipate using a little bit more of the revolving account last year. One thing that we are seeing is, obviously with cost of living increases with salaries, and we have been making some adjustments. We've been working with Jennifer Henry, who is the director of the preschool program, on those expenses and trying to find creative ways to make purchases. She does have a grant that she receives, and so using that grant money to purchase supplies versus utilizing this account. So that's something that we will be working with her on in FY26 as well. But I would say that this number is very well known because the encumbrances are salary, and so that's known to us. We infrequently get timesheets, and we're not buying many supplies off of that. I think the only kind of thing that could change would be the revenues. If someone doesn't pay, if we have more students who require financial need, but we're pretty consistent. We do a good job, I think, at predicting what those revenues are.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
So also in your packet is the FY27 school committee budget priorities, which are really the FY26 budget priorities. At the September 29th budget meeting, we'll spend time talking about priorities for FY27. And also in your packet is a draft calendar of the budget season. So this is a running record. We'll update these dates as they become known. But thanks to Cheryl, she put this together and helps us stay organized throughout the school year. And that is the superintendent's report.
Great. Educational policy, e-bike, and e-scooter discussion.
So last evening at the policy subcommittee, it is a policy that the joint policy subcommittee will be discussing. So that'll be under consideration. In the meantime, Keith, do you want to share kind of the approach we're taking?
Yeah, so there's been a growing concern of the use of e-bikes and electric scooters on campuses, all of our campuses in all three districts. So some of that, and working in collaboration with both the Northborough and Southborough police, we decided to move forward and to ban the use of those on campus, and that helps the police with the matters that they have to take care of after hours, and certainly for our principals to support safe arrival and dismissal of our students. We've had too many uses where it's been a little bit close calls. So we were trying to correct that. Overall, I think that communication was decently received. A couple of emails just clarifying, but for the most part, I think parents were looking for that direction, and I think we needed to provide that sooner rather than later. In conjunction with the communication, also signage is being produced, and I'll be working with facilities to get those signs posted within the next week or two.
Great. Any questions on that? Thank you. All right, distribution of personnel report and new staff appointments.
Sure. So the HR department is always busy, and they do a tremendous amount of work. And this is representative of just one of three districts of hiring. So we had a leave of absence for Justin Kelly, who took on a new role in the district, and also Kelly Schweppenhauser. And we had a lot of resignations with ESPs, which is typical. Typically, they're looking for educator positions, so that is expected. And then our new hires, so we're very excited about the cohort of educators who've joined our district. Very talented, and we're excited to see their work. So thank you to Heather and the HR team for its work, hiring all the employees.
Thanks, Heather. And welcome to all the new employees. All right, MASC Joint Conference information.
So if you're interested in attending, please reach out to Cheryl. She'll register. And Joan Frank on the Friday will be receiving the MASC Lifetime Achievement Award for her service to the school committee. That is a dinner, but the conference is Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I plan on going Thursday and Friday. If you're interested, reach out to Cheryl.
Thank you. So we have 3 sets of minutes. Are there any comments or changes on any of these? All right, I'm going to move that we approve the special open meeting minutes of August 7th, 2025, special open meeting minutes of August 13th, 2025, and executive session minutes to be held, approved but not to be released, of August 7th, 2025. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. All right, next month we'll have an FY27 budget presentation, but that will be after we have our subcommittee meetings. School improvement plans.
Elementary will be presenting.
Elementary, okay. Woodward Air Conditioning Report Assessment Review, SCDP, Pre-K, Community Engagement and Belonging Update, Food Services. Can anybody think of anything else right now that they want? Okay, shoot me a note if anybody thinks of anything.
This, whatever we want to call it, presentation, or, for the K through 8 committee, the information that's going to the select board, is that an item that it's relevant for us to discuss because it will be done before our next meeting, or not? We can't really talk about it if it's not on here. We can always cancel it.
Yeah, we can add.
We have time to kind of think about what topics, so.
Yeah.
Up to Chelsea, if we can add to this list. It's going to be a long meeting.
All right. And our next meeting, regularly scheduled meeting, is Wednesday, October 8th. We have a combined meeting next Wednesday at 5:30 at Algonquin, I think. And then we have the dual subcommittee meetings on September 29th, which is on Zoom. Okay. So with that, we're going to go into executive session. So I move that the school committee go into executive session, exemption 3 to the open meeting law, chapter 30A, section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining with Southborough Teachers Association, as an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the public body, and the chair so declares, and not to reconvene in open session at 9:07. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, roll call vote for this one. Denise?
Aye.
Laura? Aye. Chelsea? Aye. Sorry, Roger?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Have a great night for whoever's watching.